You're listening to Podfabula Productions, a mashup of fiction, nonfiction, ideas, and commentary, created and narrated by your author-host, Victor Acquista. Today's episode, The Deep Well of Peace. Regular listeners to this podcast series recognize that the shows include both fiction and nonfiction content. Today I'm focusing on nonfiction. As we are in the midst of a worldwide pandemic, people are individually, and the world is collectively, reacting with fear and uncertainty. This is understandable given the sober realities and hardships that are part of this current crisis and challenge. Where do you find peace in the midst of these threats, changes, and turmoil? This episode is about where to find that peace. Centering yourself and drawing from the deep well of peace is one way to approach not just the crises, turmoil, and challenges that are part of all of our lives. This is a way to live your life from a healthy perspective. Specifically, it is a particular perspective of context, not content. The content of our lives, the quote good stuff and quote bad stuff alike, occurs in the context of where we are centered, grounded, rooted. If we view the world as dangerous, if we feel the need to constantly protect ourselves from the world around us, we are reacting from a place and a perspective of fear. There are four great spirit-filled places to ground your being: peace, trust, gratitude, and love. Any of these contextual perspectives are healthy. They each provide a beautiful canvas upon which the content of all your life and our lives can be painted. I have tried to distill some of the essential aspects of this one canvas, peace, in a chapter I wrote in Healthwise, Integral Lessons in Transformation. For 5 days following upload of this episode, you can download this book for free. Information is posted in the show notes. While this chapter was originally written in the autumn, the wisdom it embodies applies throughout the year. The Deep Well of Peace. Autumn is a time for me personally when I tend to be more reflective. I like to imagine that as the harvest has been collected, the land needs to settle into a time of rest, and I need to go with the flow. Late fall and early winter is often taken over by all the hubbub and stressors associated with holidays. It seems all the more important to me to rest up and recharge. This chapter reflects this contemplative sentiment and really points to a much deeper aspect of health than we typically think about or address in discussions in education about health. That deeper aspect is, in some ways, beyond the thinking mind and dwells more at the level of the soul and spirit. I write this today, immersed in a deep well of peace, and want to share with you what that means to me and why I believe it is something for you to reflect upon and contemplate. I believe very strongly that your health will benefit as you learn to immerse yourself in your own deep well of peace. What does it mean to be at peace? At some level within, I think you know the answer to this question. Peace occurs in association with a stilling of the chattering mind and mental thoughts about good things, bad things, memories, hopes, failures, accomplishments, things to do, things not to do, etc., etc. When you are at peace, you are not thinking about all these things, and your mind is still. Peace is also associated with a lack of wants or desires. When you are at peace, your wants and desires have temporarily abated. They are not in your consciousness during such moments of peace. In many ways, you cannot experience peace fully when you are consumed even partially by wants or needs. Contentment is a state where needs and wants are satisfied, but it should not be mistaken for peace. Peace requires more than quieting the mind and meeting needs or wants. At an emotional level, we cannot be in a destructive emotional state and experience peace. Peace is typically associated with joy and happiness, yet you can be joyful and happy and not be at peace. Internal versus external. There are many life events and circumstances that bring us joy and happiness. Celebrations, gifts, giving and receiving, unexpected good surprises, an excellent meal shared with friends are just a few of these types of events and circumstances. These are all external things, which we react to in a positive, joyful way, and we feel happy. These positive feelings subside and fade as we react to subsequent events and circumstances in our lives. These reactions are responses to the external content aspects of our lives. When we are focused on the content of our lives, we constantly react to the circumstances surrounding us. The joy and happiness associated with peace are internal affairs. In many ways, they are a byproduct of being at peace and flow out of that state. This type of joy lasts as long as we are continuing to draw from that deep well of peace from within ourselves. When this internal place becomes where we are focused, the externals do not disrupt our peace. Yes, we still react to these external events and circumstances, but we remain in a state of peace. This is another example, like trust, that I wrote about in the last chapter. Allowing peace to be the context in which life's challenges present themselves is a wonderful way to live each day. External affairs affect our internal responses and consequently our experience. Our internal affairs similarly generate our experience. Ultimately, peace is not about thinking or feeling so much as experiencing. How can I experience more peace? Many spiritual teachers have taught about peace. You might want to research teachings that resonate for you. My research, part of which comes from great teachers and part from self-reflection, confirms that peace does not come from the world around us, but is something within each and every one of us. Yet, the peace from within can be difficult to access when we are surrounded by noise and chaos. It is easier to go deep within when we are free of noise and distractions. Have a place in your home, a quiet spot that is comfortable. This is a place of safe refuge, a haven, a sanctuary. This is a place for you to draw from the deep well of peace from within. Find another place outside where you experience nature and it is easy to quiet your mind. There too is another good place to draw from your well. Create places in your mind where you can visualize and go to. Physically, you cannot always be in the places inside or outside your home where you cultivate peace, but you can always access your visualized places of peace. I call them power places, happy places. These are all places, physical or mental, where it is easy to immerse yourself in the deep well of peace. Meditation is an effective way to access this well. Here in this place your soul finds refuge. Here in this place of serenity and tranquility, you find the peace that the world cannot give. And from this place, you can proceed in the world amidst the noise and the haste, and move quietly and in peace. Have you met someone in your life that seems to be living from a place of peace? The gentle smile on their face, with lines and creases of joy and happiness, their gaze of loving eyes, their demeanor and countenance of patience are all things which come across without words. That person can be you. Affirmation. Within me is a deep well of peace that I can access and draw from at any time. Intention. Today, I shall draw deeply from the well of peace within myself. Peace be with you. Hint, it already is. Here are some closing remarks. As I said in my opening, the content of our lives is painted upon a metaphorical canvas. The current COVID-19 pandemic and all the uncertainty and suffering attached to it, illness, death, job loss, food insecurity, economic upheaval, all of this represents content. We all have choices in our lives. We choose the canvas upon which to paint this content. Fear, worry, anxiety, anger, bitterness, resentment are places you choose to ground your being and include this content. Or you could choose to ground yourself in peace, trust, gratitude, and love. The content, the events and circumstances of your life is the same. All these subjects are covered in my book, Health-Wise, Integral Lessons in Transformation. As mentioned previously, the ebook is free to purchase during March 24th through 28th. Be at peace, and thanks for listening.